Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Tom Spark. Welcome back to another video. Today we're updating WindScribe for 2023 in our objective VPNTierlist.com rating system. As always, guys, make sure to check out VPNTierlist.com to stay up to date with the latest rankings in 2023. Also, make sure to check out some of my recommended products. I have really good discount codes. If you click on any of the links here, it will help support the channel as well. And if you click on the numbers, it will take you directly to that review. I also have some fun quizzes you can take advantage of to take. And also make sure to check out the Discord, which you can find right up here in the top left corner. Anyways, guys, now let's get on to the actual review. So we're going to be taking a look at WindScribe. We have an account here. I did have some issues trying to make an account. I'm not sure why. I think maybe I had a VPN on at a certain point and it wasn't working, or something else was causing an issue, maybe a digital credit card like privacy.com. Let me know down in the comments down below if you've had any issues making an account with WindScribe recently. That could help other people too. But anyways, guys, we're talking about pricing first here on the channel, just like always. Now, WindScribe's an interesting VPN. I've noticed that they got a little bit more expensive over time. We have a $9 per month asking price right there, which honestly isn't too bad. I do like that. Having a decent price point for the first month, but also providing a little bit of discounts for long terms, which you will see in the yearly plan. It's around $70 though, which isn't a bad price, but we generally like it to be around $60 or under. So it's a little expensive, I would say. We do have to build a plan, but I'm not going to be like really counting that for our review system. It can be an interesting proposition for you if you just need a couple servers. But we kind of like to look at things in terms of giving you access to everything the VPN has to offer. And there are some limitations, like you need to have a couple different things. If you click on it, you'll see what I mean. You need to have like at least a couple bucks a month. I think it rounds out to around $36 to $40 a year, which is pretty good. But again, that's not providing access to like every server and everything. So hope that sounds fair to you guys. But outside of that, they do have a 30-day refund policy, no timers on the website, no price increases from what I could see. And it does seem like there's unlimited simultaneous connections, but there is no account sharing as here. So take that into consideration. WindScribe does not offer promo codes to us anymore. I don't think they ever did either. So overall, not the best pricing in the world. One thing I did forget to point out though, that a member of my Discord notified me about, I just couldn't believe this. I assumed that WindScribe had a 30-day refund policy. However, that is not the case. WindScribe actually has one of the worst refund policies out of any VPNs. You only have 3 days after purchase to refund, and you must have used less than 10 gigabytes on the paid plan, and it must be 3 days or less since the purchase. This is probably the worst refund policy I've ever seen from any VPN. TorGuard is kind of one of those VPNs that doesn't have the best refund policy, only 7 days. However, they have no data limit on that. And as far as I know, almost all the other VPNs that have auto renewal tricks and those kind of things, at least most of them do have a 30-day refund policy. Some of them even have a 45-day refund policy. Not many. I think there's like one. I can't remember it off the top of my head. But this is definitely one of the worst ones. So they're definitely going to lose some points here. And be careful if you do change your mind on WindScribe. It's a little expensive, I would say, but good options and no tricks, marketing tricks, which is good from me. So overall, not too bad. All right, guys, here we have WindScribe's application. And now it's kind of an interesting looking application. It's very small. I do think there is a way to make it bigger. I can't really exactly remember why or how, but we have different locations. You could see down here. I guess that did make it a little bit bigger. You could favorite and so on. Overall, it's an interestingly designed application, very modern, that's for sure. Connects fast and everything like that. I do think the icons here are a little bit too minimalist. I would have preferred text. It does make it a little bit trickier to navigate, I would say. But overall, the application is pretty good. Lots of different customization options. You have Van Gogh, so ear list. I think that makes it more boxy, which is kind of interesting. I think I kind of prefer the original one now. But outside that, they have most of the important things. They have really good ad blocking, which is kind of, I would say, like an interesting thing about WindScribe. They've really done a good job there, I think, almost making it kind of competitive to something like NextDNS or something, or competitive to it. So if that really is appealing to you, we do see WireGuard, split tunneling, as well as some proxy settings, which is nice. And we do see some DNS customization. You could use theirs or custom, which is cool. As well as some other little features down here with your network adapter and a proxy gateway. So that's kind of interesting. Another brief thing I did want to mention is that WindScribe does kind of have a weird feature that I do think is anti-competitive. They have a feature built into their DNS options where it will block VPNs. Now, initially, when I kind of knew about this feature, but it kind of came up just like April 26, 2023. There were some users reporting to me in Iran that they were having access issues to other VPNs while using WindScribe. According to them, they did not turn this feature on. This will block other VPNs from being used, and you can find it in the application. It's kind of in a section where it has an anti-VPN feature on. Go to Robert here. There we go. So it's right here. So they have an ability to block other VPN access from being on. So what seemed to me was that some users were complaining they didn't turn this on. They didn't even know about this issue and were having issues accessing other VPNs. They were using WindScribe as a free method to find better VPNs that worked on block access in Iran. This seemed really concerning to me. I think the feature in and of itself is problematic. Not necessarily a good thing. You don't really see any other VPNs building this anti-VPN technology into their own applications. It's very kind of gatekeepy and stuff like that, anti-competitive, but it's not as much of a problem in my opinion if it's not auto-enabled. So I was reaching out to WindScribe. WindScribe said that they do not auto-enable it in this post right here. However, I still kind of came back at them saying, why is this feature even in it in the first place? So then they respond, or one of the other employees, Winder, responds saying, you could come up with in this hypothetical what ifs. At the end of the day, it's completely optional toggle. So that was their response. Not really a response in my opinion, just kind of a deflection. With this logic, why doesn't Pi-hole block every VPN service? Or why do most DNS ad blockers not block VPNs? It's definitely a weird thing to add as an option. They're saying, oh, well, it doesn't really matter that it is optional. But in my opinion, it's still a really weird thing. And then just for the lulz, I asked him when we were going to do our Minecraft promotion. If you guys didn't know, around 4 years ago, when WindScribe and I were on good terms before all the community members turned against me, I was actually talking to Winder and we were going to do some kind of Minecraft collaboration. I was going to make some kind of cool video about how to use WindScribe with a Minecraft server, something cool like that. But then shortly after that, they kind of turned against me, and then it just kind of defaulted to hating anyone who reviewed VPNs. One of the reasons is that WindScribe just doesn't like most other VPNs. They capitalize on that word most. They say a lot of VPNs have trackers and ads and things like that. Keep in mind, my top 3 VPNs, none of them have ads or trackers. Now, I did kind of want to point out a funny thing. Hey, all WindScribe Discord people. I'm surprisingly not banned here on my main account. My only account I use. I guess it's because I don't troll around here and raid the server or tell any of my community to do so. Although I can't really say the same because people do get banned here. You could see them talking about it. But that's not the point of right now. A funny point is that, we're talking about this whole thing where WindScribe had added this feature because, maybe some people want to block other VPNs because they're so dangerous. And it's funny because the community was actually like, oh, look at TorGuard, 0 trackers, 13 permissions. And then this guy's like, 0 trackers, 20 permissions. And then he's like, okay, what the fuck, WindScribe? That was pretty good. I did enjoy that. A shout out, WindScribe community. Now, honestly, I might go so far as to say WindScribe might be my biggest fan community. This guy said just yesterday, we love Tom Spark, and, they talk about me all the time. You could see here, this is just within the last couple of months here alone. And then if we scroll down here, 9 full pages. Let's go to page 9. Oh yeah, these were the OG fans. I made a VPN battle royale, and yeah, they didn't like that. Although this guy's saying, he said best free VPN is WindScribe. Yeah, and I guess they were talking about me there. This was a pretty funny video. Oh, here we go. This is a good one. That guy, Tom Spark, is a TorQuard shill. Is he still here? He has like a role. And then here we go. Oh, 2018. How is this TorQuard shill managed to get 2.9k subscribers? I will never know. And now I have 35k, almost 34.k subscribers. So honestly, if all my WindScribe fans subscribe to if I made an OnlyFans, the amount of people on a WindScribe server talking about me, if they just all subscribe to my OnlyFans account, I might be able to retire from doing VPN reviews. If you guys want to see that happen, I can't guarantee that I have a 6-pack, but might have like a 4-pack. Overall, I think WindScribe has done an excellent job with their application. It's certainly come a long way from when they first made it. It's almost close to perfect. You know, in terms of what it could add, I think WindScribe does have like some partnership with Invisibox, which is kind of like their router solution they allowed people to use. So it seems kind of like a partnership. I might just give them a point just to be nice, since it does seem to kind of like have that capability and pre-configuration, which is cool. I don't really know if WindScribe owns Invisibox. I don't think so. But outside of that, really the only thing they are missing in terms of what I could see is some kind of remote VPN feature. Maybe when you're outside the house connected to WindScribe, you could connect to your computer that's on WindScribe. I know some other VPNs are playing around with some of those cool things like that. NordVPN and TorQuard, namely, are some of the VPNs kind of experimenting with some of that stuff. And I expect more VPNs to kind of add that capability in the future. But overall, WindScribe, one of the better applications, I would say. We're going to be testing out the speeds now with WindScribe. In my experience, it hasn't always had the fastest speeds. It does okay. According to my last metric, it should be around 3 or, well, this is a little bit better, I think, than the other day. I'm going to bump it up a little bit just to be fair. More like I would say this is kind of like getting to 6 is pretty good, honestly. Very close to 6. But speed sometimes can be a little inconsistent for me. If you looked yesterday on my previous speed test, I was getting 300 to 400. So it can kind of vary with WindScribe a little bit. I'm sure they have a lot of people on their servers. So guys, how does WindScribe do in the privacy section? Well, pretty good. I've always had some issue with the blacklight markup test. I don't know why. WindScribe doesn't work with it for whatever reason. But the website doesn't really use any trackers or cookies. Application also has 0 trackers, but a very, very high permission count. I'm not really sure why it has such a high permission count. That's pretty high. So that could be something definitely for them to work on. In the other areas though, we see it logged. We see it no log audit. We have open source in the application section, which I didn't mention, but that's a part of that metric, which I gave them points for. The pretty transparent leadership as well, with blog posts and things like that. They don't collect logs. Open source analytics, and 2-factor authentication as well. The only thing they missed some points on is there was this huge kind of vulnerability with their servers a couple years ago that got to the mainstream press. It said that it failed to encrypt VPN servers that were recently confiscated by authorities. Since then, I think WindScribe has done some measures to improve their security, which is good. Apparently, there was no customer data handed over, and something involved a government employee stealing $10,000 from Ukrainian social services. A year later, the servers were seized by local authorities. So there you go. Definitely kind of a little ding in their PR, though. But overall, not too bad for privacy. They do check a lot of the boxes. Finally, we can start wrapping up the review. I did send a ticket in on an account that is not associated with Tom Spark because they don't really like me. But that ticket did not get a response yet under 1 hour, which is kind of a bummer, but I'm assuming they will respond under 24 hours. Usually they do, unless it's on weekends. I know they're pretty slow to respond on tickets on weekends. I've seen people complain about that before. So take that in consideration. If you want help on the weekends, they could be extra slow then too. And moving into the next part of the review system, we have the review process. Now, I just made this tweet today and yesterday for both WindScribe and iVPN, both companies that have kind of come after me personally, harassed me and my community. So I have made this tweet, and the part of the review process is that if these companies can become more professional, apologize for any past behavior, and move forward professionally and commit to ethical and professional standards, not trying to influence the reviews, not trying to harass me or anything like that, anyone in my community, then we can move forward and I can give WindScribe 5 points. But as of right now, that has not happened. WindScribe has not apologized or anything like that. And quite the opposite, really. I've had people coming into my server, posting pictures of toilets covered in shit. I've had people coming in telling my system is crappy. I know that Torguard had a brand new Discord server. They got raided. I don't know for sure if it was WindScribe community members, but WindScribe is also telling people that, you know, spreading misinformation. Like, I work for other VPNs, which I don't. I'm my own company. So that's definitely concerning. I don't know if they will kind of adhere to the professional conduct we need here on the channel to review VPNs. I want to be able to review VPNs fairly. So hopefully they could figure that out, because the product's not bad. Just hopefully they could figure that out. Lastly, we could talk about streaming, and WindScribe has always been a pretty good streaming VPN provider. I don't really have any problems accessing most of the common streaming services, although I have seen some criticisms with specific areas of Netflix posing problems. So I'm not sure if it's going to be quite as good in a weird way as NordVPN is around the world for something like accessing obscure Netflix regions, but it's pretty good. All right, guys, now we're here at the end of the WindScribe review. How did they do? Well, let's take a look at the points. We can see WindScribe here. It's a little expensive, but there are other options for the build a plan if that's something you want to kind of stay lower budget on, which is cool. In terms of application, it's very good. It could add some remote VPN capabilities if they really wanted to impress people. The speeds are mostly good. Sometimes I don't get the best speeds. Sometimes I get a little bit better. I've noticed some other VPNs have a little bit more consistent speeds. That's always been the case for me in WindScribe, so there you go. In terms of the privacy, overall, most of the things are good. Although there were some prior hiccups in the past with some of their security. There was also a couple other things I kind of forgot to mention. No one really talks about this anymore, but I did cover it a long time ago. There was a pretty bad IP leak issue on a specific, I think it was the WindScribe extension with Chrome users that was leaking IPs for months. So no one really talks about that, but that was a pretty bad issue at the time. So also, as I mentioned, the refund policy thing does really kind of grind my gears. I wish they had, you know, they might rework this. I don't know. After seeing this review, maybe they'll take my feedback. But yeah, I don't know. But also the customer support, a little bit slower than average. You know, the fastest VPNs, I would say. You know, we really look for VPNs to impress us in that customer support area. So that's why they didn't get any points for under 1 hour response. I did give them 24-hour response. And you know, that review process score. So if they are able to apologize, it would definitely bump them up to one of the top VPNs here on the channel. Especially with some of these other improvements, they have a bright future, but we'll have to see. I don't know if that's going to happen. I've had a lot of issues with the management over at WindScribe, although I'm sure a lot of the employees that work there do their best. I'm not saying everyone who uses WindScribe is a terrible Discord user either. It's just a couple bad apples that kind of ruin the fun for everybody, I think. All right, guys, as you can see here, WindScribe is at the bottom of A tier. They definitely could get to the top of A tier with some minor changes and a public apology for some of those things mentioned in this video. However, who knows if that will happen or if it ever will happen. It certainly would help WindScribe grow more, as more people would be attracted to their product offering with a higher score. Definitely would be good for the VPN, but who's to say if that will happen? I hope you found this review objective. Stay tuned on the VPN tier list for more reviews just like this one and all the up-to-date rankings, and I'll see you again very soon.